So Brian, I'm going to stick with you for a minute, right? Which is you mentioned a few things. I know this has come up in the dialogue previously also, right? Which is about community. Clearly, you're taking initiative, but also, I mean, I've seen you evolve, right? I mean, you're extremely comfortable in front of a camera now, just through your podcasting and being on shows and interviewing people. So, how have you? I mean, how has your thinking shifted, let's say, over the past year in terms of skills that are above and beyond the technical aspect of things?
I think communication is a skill that you could go anywhere with. And a lot of the in school, you're only taught like the textbook pretty much. But in cybersecurity, you have to kind of well round yourself with very diverse skill sets. And not everything will benefit your career, but as long as you're continuous learning, you could weed out the things that you find most helpful, especially with communication, especially with working with teams, finishing up your work. Like I am grateful for CFF to give me an opportunity because that actually shows you what it's like working in a workforce before you even graduate as an intern.
Can I add something real quick to that?
Absolutely.
You were mentioning earlier the cooks. You had a couple cooks that you're trying to get into cybersecurity. I think a lot of the times that what's hard for people to transfer over from whatever cooks or waitresses or business or whatever into cybersecurity is to translate the skills. And I know military big time have a problem with this, translating their skills from where they are to where they want to be. I was a cook in at a camp for 2 summers. And I will tell you, I learned teamwork. You have to learn teamwork to be able to work together as a team. You work under stress. Cybersecurity can be stressful. If something breaks and something goes, and I think that's another big part of it. It's not just the technical skills, which if you're wanting to learn technical skills can be taught. But if you're someone who can lead, can be part of a team, can communicate, like Brian was saying, you can go far. It's not all. Most people, I think, one of the biggest things they are worried about is, oh, I don't know all about networking. I don't know all about this or that. And it's like that's okay. If you can lead, I can guarantee you, I have managers that are cybersecurity managers that don't know as much about cybersecurity as I do, and that's okay. And that's part of it. There are other team members that I have that may not know as much about cybersecurity, but they have this other facet that I don't know. And so it's. I think part of the problem is everybody thinks that I need to know everything about cybersecurity to get in. No, you don't. You need to be able to get in, get your foot in the door. You may be bottom man on the totem pole, but if you keep working as hard as you have already, you're going to do great. And so I think that's a big part of it. Is not just the certs, but it's translating those skills to over from where they are to where they want to go.
Got it. And Leah, so just following on what Paul just said about soft skills, the teamwork, communication, and again, from your perspective, how much of that have you seen your mentees actually realize? Because it isn't talked about as much, right? I mean, you hear about, hey, have you got this certification, that certification, and CompTIA, and you hear about all these like crazy acronyms people go chasing after. It's not about communication skills, soft skills, empathy. I mean, even what Paul, your what you talked about, which is when you are on the IT side of the world and cybersecurity came and said, hey, you just broke this, you need to be able to embrace that, right? It's like, it's not them finding fault. It's just because, hey, the business has to survive. And unless we work together. So Leah, I mean, your thoughts on how, I mean, have you seen your mentees actually realize this is critical, or it's like, okay, we'll deal with this later. We have so many other things to deal with.
It's been a mix, and it probably depends on what level they're at, because there are some career transitioners that I get who have had leadership or management roles. They're just transitioning into cyber. So I'd say with those folks, they have more of the fundamentals and the skill sets outside of tech, where they are just really honing in on tech, but they have, the other qualities that would make them great in a position within cyber. And then the others who, Paul, you brought this up, right? Veterans, right? And transitioning into from there into the corporate world. And that's and there are, again, organizations, including Gatebreakers and others, who help a lot of people with how do you communicate and translate your skills so it fits into that role, even if it wasn't direct experience. And if you think about folks in the military, and more than I've met, the majority can say this, is that their biggest thing is they overanalyze and they're very detailed oriented. Well, how big of a skill set is that that's very valuable in cybersecurity, right? And so it's just a matter, I think, of understanding what did they do in those previous lives, or where, really listening to them, understanding how they interact with people, how they handle a situation or communicate in groups. And then you can see areas that they need to work on, but you can also see the skill sets that are strong that should be translated. And it's helping them to realize that and discover that. I will say this, it was, I guess, interesting timing. It was yesterday, I was listening to some session, and this gentleman, Nick, he's a CISO for a bank in Silicon Valley, California. I won't attempt to say his last name, but he gave a recommendation for a book he read that he's read over and over called Meditations. And I actually went on Amazon and bought it. And he has a new book coming out, by the way, Cyber War. But he, the concept of this book and what he positioned as kind of his leadership theory, not theory, but how he practices is, empathy is a big part of it, or emotional intelligence, because being able to understand the situation, read people, understand, and this is from the what the concept of the book Meditations was, is know thyself, right? Very important to know, how are you perceiving others? How do they perceive you? And really those type of qualities and skill sets, and honing in on that, because we all have it as humans, can be very, very beneficial and key in any role, whether you're entry level in cyber or not, but specifically as you grow in your career and start to manage a team and become, a leader higher within. So it's just a matter of realizing, working with those individuals, and I think them finding community and mentors to help them draw out those skill sets that they do have that are strong, and translating that to be applicable in the role that they're going into.
Great. Okay, so final lightning round question, just a little bit about what CFF is about, and again, the internships that you've been able to provide, being that bridge between people wanting to break into the industry and the employers out there. Again, just talk a little bit about CFF is and what you've seen work successfully for you.
Oh, sure. No, thank you for that. We are a nonprofit organization, and we're a group of think tank doers, if you will, super connectors, focused on big cyber initiatives that we work closely with our community and members and other like-minded folks. One big initiative is workforce development, talent, and training. And part of that initiative led us to partner with another organization and receive a contract from Department of Labor, which allows us to build out part of that. The goal is to create cybersecurity apprenticeship programs throughout the US. And I think that's a good start to helping with the workforce. But again, I will say this, it is very important to really work with the broader community and the folks who are out there doing similar things that can help, and where there's synergies. This can't be done just by one company, one person. And when you look at an organization, and it's a lot of just conversations with people talking to the hiring managers, talking to talent and HR teams, and really figuring out understanding a bit their business needs first and foremost, understanding how are they hiring, where are they getting their talent from, do they even know of certain areas where they can get diverse talent? Because if I hear another time there's a talent shortage, I will totally negate that, because we have plenty of talent. It's just sometimes you have to bring that talent to them on a silver platter, right? And then looking at what models work for them, right? An internship, well, could we consider maybe it's not just 3-month program, because by the time that person leaves, maybe goes back to school and comes back in another 4-6 months, have they forgotten most of what they learned? Are there ways where we can expand those internships to be maybe pre-apprenticeship, et cetera? And again, looking at, I would say, even where are we going to put these high school students that are going to be required to have internships? Because that's happening with as far as when you look at schools starting to implement more STEM, cyber IT curriculums. So we really do work collectively with many groups and organizations and partners to make this happen, because it's not a one size fits all, and it is a customized approach per that employer. But I will say to all of those looking for jobs and going through this right now, we'd love to talk to you, but there are groups out there that are trying to make this a better overall circumstance to get more people to break in, including Naomi and Gatebreakers.
Okay, that's a perfect transition to the last point. Okay, talk about Gatebreakers and what you guys are about and what you're trying to do.
Naomi Buckwalter, yeah, make sure I pronounce that right. She has started the cybersecurity Gatebreakers, basically similar as CFF, just another group. Like Leah was saying, it doesn't just take one group or one person. We are out here trying to help people understand and companies understand that an entry-level position doesn't need a CISSP and 5 years of experience. There are cooks, there are transitioning military. There are people out there that have the skills. They just need to be maybe tweaked a little bit or be able to help and show the way they need to be able to break into cybersecurity. So kind of helping change the mindset of hiring managers and leaders. Because Leah mentioned high school students, college students. These are our cybersecurity people now, but there are leaders for the future. And if we don't get them the experience and knowledge that they need now, we're going to have a whole lot more issues. Cybersecurity is the big buzzword right now with the pipelines and the ransomware and all these things going on. But if we aren't willing to train these people, there's a book that I read is like, if you don't take advantage of the talent that's out there, somebody else will, and it could be the bad guys. And so we need to make sure that we are out there, we are helping these people, helping them get in where they want to get in, helping the hiring managers understand that there is no talent shortage. There's a ton of people out there, but we just are trying to do our best to be able to help break down these barriers and be able to help get people in to this field and where they want to be.
Awesome, great conversation. Again, thanks for your time, Paul, Brian, and Leah. I'm looking forward to continuing the dialogue.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Ashwin.
Thank you,
I know, great to
Ashwin.
be here with you guys too.
Yeah,
Thank you.
anytime.
Thank you.